Hello there, welcome to or back to my channel. If you don't know me, my name is Jessica and I am happily married to my incredible husband Alex. I have 3 beautiful little boys and I just shared about my second labor, about how I gave birth to Jonathan. That was my last video. So this video I'm going to be talking about postpartum depression, and that's what I had with Jonathan. I have given birth 3 times, and one of the postpartum periods I got postpartum depression, so I wanted to shed some light on that and hopefully help anyone who is in this stage right now. It was really hard, especially to go through alone. I want to not only share my postpartum experience, but also the research that I did and how I prevented it the next time that I gave birth. So there's a lot in this video. I'm going to jump right into it and let's go. If you missed my last video, Jonathan's birth video, I think that you guys should probably watch that video first because I just share more in detail about the pregnancy and delivery itself. So now I'm going to be talking about the postpartum period. Just a little recap of my first birth. It was absolutely incredible. I fell in love with my little Alex instantly, like instantly. I remember staying up with him at night, you know, whenever he's feeding and everything, I would like turn on the light. I would enjoy every single second, and I didn't even want to put him down. I was so obsessed with my little boy. I was so happy to be taking care of him, so happy to be breastfeeding, and it was just such a out of the world experience. I did deliver him with Pitocin as well because my water broke at 38 weeks, but I still had an incredible postpartum experience. And I'm so thankful for all those love feelings because it was hard. You know, it's always hard to take care of a newborn when they're so demanding. They need you in every single aspect of life. But I'm very thankful that God gave me those like, oh, I love you so much. I want to be doing these things for you. It was a very big blessing. It helped me to take care of him. My third postpartum experience was very similar to the first. It was also incredible. I was in love with him. I was taking care of him. Everything was the way that it was the first time. And I'm very, very thankful that I got to experience that with my third as well. But my second postpartum experience was a very rough ride. It's very hard to admit this. It's very hard to be coming here and being so open about like what happened during that time, because for the longest time, especially in that time, I did not share this to anyone because I was so ashamed and I was so scared of the things and the way I was feeling that I was just going through this alone. But I was not really attached to my baby. I didn't really have compassion on him when he cried. I didn't want to take care of him. When I looked at him, he just didn't seem like mine. Whenever he cried and needed me, I didn't have that like natural response to go get him, which I thought was just bizarre because I've been through this before. I know what it should be like. He was also extremely colicky, so he cried all of the time, but I did not have a bond with him. I even had bad thoughts of like if we're crossing a bridge and just like thoughts like throw him off, or some other extreme situation. And I had no idea what was going on with me. I was terrified. And every single time like I got that thought, I would run to the Lord in prayer, like, please take these thoughts away from me. I am super scared of them. Please protect me and my baby. My days were spent in a gloom, just this kind of cloudy feelings, very detached from like myself, my feelings, from the baby. I had no motivation to take care of myself or him. So I thought I was crazy. So I did not speak up because I was literally scared of myself, of what was going on with me, and was afraid of judgment. I would pray constantly during these months and nothing seemed to help. I could not get out of this horrible state until I got pregnant with my third, when my second was about 8 months old. And every single thing changed. Everything changed when I got pregnant again. And that's when I realized that this was postpartum depression, because when you get pregnant, your hormones completely shift. And for me, I was back to normal. I was completely back to normal. I did not have that gloominess over me. The postpartum depression left. And that's when I realized that this is postpartum depression. This is something that is related to my hormones. I'm not going crazy, and I could have asked for help earlier. So when I realized that this was postpartum depression, I did so much research. So now I'm pregnant again, and I need to prevent this as much as possible. I really wanted to love my babies, to take care of them, to not go through that crazy period. So I started doing a bunch of research about how can I prevent postpartum depression, what causes it, why did I have it, and just trying to diagnose why this happened in the first place so that I can prevent it from happening in this next postpartum period. And these are some interesting things that I learned. First of all, is Pitocin. With Jonathan, my second born, I was induced twice. I had complete rounds of Pitocin. So basically, if you don't know how it works, you get it in your arm through an IV, and they're constantly giving you this synthetic Pitocin. I had 2 complete rounds of Pitocin. So basically, they're going to increase your dosage until you reach maximum. I reached maximum. I was on maximum for a while, and my contractions weren't dilating my cervix enough efficiently, so they took me off to see if my body would regulate to continue having contractions on its own. It did not, so it stopped for a bit, so they put me back onto Pitocin, back to the maximum, and so I had 2 complete rounds of Pitocin in Jonathan's birth. And from the research that I found, Pitocin increases your risk of having postpartum depression by 32%. That's mind-blowing, because Pitocin is used in so many different areas all the time, especially in America. So for it not to be like risen by 3-4%, but by 32%, I was absolutely shocked. Oxytocin is a natural hormone that your body releases when you go into labor. It is a loving hormone, a bonding hormone. It's something that you get attached to your baby. Because my birth was completely synthetic, that messes up with your natural hormones. And because your body was not ready, my body was not ready. It was an elective induction, and my body was not ready, so it did not release the oxytocin hormone as it usually would have. Since Pitocin is synthetic, it causes your uterus to contract, but it does not give you the love and bonding feelings that you would have in a natural birth, but rather it interferes with your body's natural hormones, and it does not produce them. Being heavily pregnant and experiencing all those pains and aches and insomnia and everything else that comes along with it is super, super hard. But I'm happy that I finally learned, but in that time I did not. It was my second pregnancy. I was just over being pregnant. But because I experienced a completely natural, unmedicated, non-induced labor and birth after this time, I completely 200% know that this is a lot better way to go. The natural far outweighs waiting a little bit more until your body and your baby is ready for the actual delivery. That perk of being induced earlier has had me suffering. And once again, I'm speaking about elective induction, not to those women who are like 43 weeks pregnant and you need to get induced because of your safety and the baby's as well. I mean, there's lots of different situations that this would be medically necessary, but I'm speaking about elective induction. As the levels of oxytocin rise, your brain releases endorphins, which is a natural painkiller. Isn't God amazing? Like, he has literally thought through every single detail. So if you're using Pitocin, you don't have that bond, you don't have that loving, hormones that are released into your body for your baby. And there's absolutely no pain relief because you're not getting the natural endorphins as if you would in a natural labor. So you're basically working against your body at all costs. And it's awful, and it leads to a very long, painful, and traumatizing birth. Well, guess what? Hard, long, traumatizing births lead to postpartum depression. So this is another reason that I could have gotten it. I was having vivid flashbacks. I was shaking for days, weeks after labor, and had very, very intense migraines every single night for the next 4 months. Just crazy pain. Also, there's the lack of sleep aspect. I mean, this is an obvious one, but you're not getting any sleep, especially because I had a toddler to take care of, so I could not sleep when the baby sleeps. My other baby didn't sleep, so it was just a lot to handle, a lot to take care of. This was definitely my hardest transition between 1 kid to 2 kids. So having very little sleep does some things to your brain, and I did not take any postpartum vitamins, prenatal vitamins. I didn't take care of myself, and that, if that makes sense. So this is my diagnosis to myself. Other factors may include a high stress life, lack of support, an epidural, current or past abuse, prenatal depression, or marriage hardships. These are just to name a few, but postpartum depression steals the joys of motherhood, steals the joy of having your little precious newborn in your hands and finally meeting your child. So these are the measures that I took to prevent postpartum depression with my 3rd baby. I researched every single reason to have a natural birth. I prepared my breathing techniques and my pain relievers, like distractors, during labor so that I would know what to do and how to cope with the pain to make it as smooth and effective as possible. In trusting God in the process. These verses really helped me on my 3rd round. The voice of the Lord makes the deer give birth and strips the fairest bare, and in his temple everyone says glory. So that's in Psalm 29:9, and then Philippians 4:6-7. It says, do not worry about anything, instead pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank him for all that he has done. Then you will experience the peace of God, which exceeds all understanding. His peace will guard your heart and your mind in Christ Jesus. These verses I really thought about. So knowing the whole laboring process, what happens to your body, what happens to the baby, how he needs to descend, how he needs to move, how you need to be phased and dilated, I just imagined how God is doing all of those steps for me. And that really gave me peace. I was not working against my contractions. Once again, natural contractions. God put me into labor, not I did. I was just envisioning the baby going down and what God is doing right now, how beautiful this is, that the pain is actually helping me and not against me, because it's very painful, but to understand that this is actually a good process and that you will meet your baby at the end. And if you're going to be tensing up, screaming, and doing all these things, it's not going to help you. It's actually going to postpone your labor because you're tensioning up and you're not helping your body relax. You need to relax in order to get the baby out, in order for the contractions to be most effective. I also took prenatal vitamins, and I spoke to my midwife about what can I do to prevent this. This is the first time, me giving birth to Jonathan and then me almost giving birth to William. That was the first time that I spoke out about having postpartum depression to my midwife. So I asked her about it, and she gave me these 4 vitamins that I'm going to share with you right now. And I don't know the science behind it, but it worked. It completely worked. Like all of these things together, not getting Pitocin, having a natural birth, knowing the coping mechanisms of labor. And these 4, after you deliver your baby, postpartum, vitamins that you should take along with it, and it really, really helps me. One of them is vitamin D3, and that's the 10,000 IU. Second is vitamin B12, 1,000 mcg. Another one is fish oil, 1,000 mg. And the 4th one is a motherwort tincture. It's herb drops that you will take like in this little syringe, just put it into like some juice or something once a day. And I will like put everything over here. Once again, I don't know the science behind these things, but I do know that they worked because I have tried it and it works incredibly. So these are the few things that I recommend to my new mamas, to my mamas who are going through postpartum depression or about to give birth. You can prevent this, and I hope that you will take these measures, if at all possible, to try to prevent it, because motherhood and that postpartum period is such a beautiful time. I experienced it twice, once badly, twice greatly, and I just absolutely love it. That time when your little infant is a baby and can just lay on your chest and you can breastfeed and have this incredible bonding moment, I really would hate that anything would steal that from you. And I'm very, in a way, thankful to experience this so that I can have more compassion on young mothers, on mothers who have given birth, who need this support and help. I think that if you have a mama friend who has just delivered her baby, check up on her, call her, you know, not only in the first like week and congratulate her with a baby, but a month, 2 months, 3 months, 10 months after. Keep up with her and make sure that she's doing okay. Maybe she needs to have some help. Maybe she needs to talk to you. Just to be there for all of those mamas who are giving birth and transitioning into this new life. So that's basically it for me today. I'm so thankful that you came here and stuck until the end. May God bless you guys and all of your births and postpartum periods and all your friends, or for whatever reason you're watching this, but may God bless you. I share my faith, my motherhood, and my lifestyle here on YouTube, and if you'd like to stick around, I would love for you to subscribe and get to know you in the comments down below. May God bless you guys. Bye!